We need all kinds of connections. We need family, romantic partner, a mentor, and we need friends, right? You cannot ignore any part of that particular social circle. But I think beyond that college, that friendship part starts to diminish. I think this whole trend of social media, friend requests, and all of this, that has diluted the meaning of friendship also, right?
How to still try to build friendship each and every day?
Just give yourself a chance to be open, be out there. It's not easy, but it's also not super difficult. I think there is tremendous amount of knowledge and experiences that you can have just by meeting people.
Hello, Sagar.
Hey, Arya.
Welcome to Layers of Life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
The pleasure is all mine. मेरे को लगा कि you would like kind of block me because I've spammed you so many times. I've tortured you like please come, please come. I've been like chasing you. I was like okay, this guy thinks I'm mad and he's going to block me one day.
Not at all, yaar. We couldn't do it the last time, so I was more excited, and I just thought, okay, let's go and let's have a conversation. So I'm very excited.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm always good on a Monday, as against everybody else who finds Monday blues or Monday to be a difficult start to the week. But because you always have events on the weekend, so Monday is like a lighter day for us. That's like a day, if I can say, we take for ourselves. Or we try not to plan bigger things on Monday so that we can chill a little bit, enjoy. So Mondays are always the best days.
So how is Bangalore?
Bangalore is lovely here. I mean, having spent a lot of time in Hyderabad also, my preference is always Hyderabad. I think Bangalore has a great energy. There's a great crowd
And traffic.
and traffic. I think traffic and weather is something that everybody knows, right? So that's always there. But I think now Bangalore is having a lot of energy, right? You always, wherever you go, you can find people experimenting, doing stuff. The crowd is very open to ideas. So like there's a good energy in the city for somebody who is into creatives or who wants to, try and do something. So that's something that I love about Bangalore.
So before we get into this, I would love if you could introduce yourself. Let the listeners know a little bit about yourself.
Sure, yeah. So I'm born and brought up in Allahabad from UP. That's where I'm from, and I'm born into a combination of Marwadi Baniya family, very typical. So apart from my father, all my uncles, everybody's into a business. So my father is a banker, but rest everybody is into a business. So I always grew up after my schools and every time sitting in our shops, and we have this bridal leather ka work and business. So I picked that sense up from very beginning and always knew I wanted to do something around the business part of it. But was pretty good in academics. So everybody felt that I myself felt that I should do engineering. That's what everybody is doing. So I did engineering in IT. And then I moved to a job. I first came to Hyderabad. I was working as a consultant, primarily for SaaS, fintech space. Spent some time outside of India with different clients, got a chance to explore. I worked for 4 to 5 years. It was really good. I was really enjoying my work. But then, that's not where it ends. I realized, okay, there's something more that I want to be doing. So now I'm running this community called Upar. That is something we're running out of Hyderabad and Bangalore. And that's primarily a offline social networking space for people to find more deeper, more meaningful connects as adults, which I think has become more and more rare as we have moved into a ever more connected world. So it's a little ironical, but that's something that I've been up to for now.
So I already have so many questions for you, but before that, how did you switch from a 9 to 5, very stable, good income job to something which is so like, what do you call, uncertain? So how did that happen?
So to be fairly honest, I always knew at some point of time that's going to happen. So I always wanted to run a business, but uh, I did not want to do a conventional trading business, right? So I wasn't finding a problem that I was enjoying enough to solve. But I think what happened with me was I'm a workaholic, right? And when I was working Monday to Friday, longer shifts. And then Saturday, Sunday was just going and sleeping, boozing, watching Netflix. And for a few years, I really enjoyed that lifestyle, right? So I was partying hard, money had started to come in, I was doing fairly good at my job. But then at some point, I started feeling, okay, I don't want to just be doing this, right? Nothing wrong with partying, but I'm still in my 20s, early 20s, mid 20s. I want more from life. I want to explore new interests, experiences, ideas. So that was like a trigger for me to do something. And that's when COVID also happened. And I came back to my hometown and I was 1 year at home. And that kind of cut off your social connections also, your social circle also. And that gave me a chance to introspect. So I realized that, whenever I move back to work or I move back to one of the tier one cities, I want to be having a life outside of my work, doing things that I enjoy. And I felt like Bangalore is the right place to do it. You always hear that Bangalore has such a cool social scene and things like that. So I think that's when I moved to Bangalore in 2022. And initially, I just wanted to experience, go out and do things. And I tried to going to a lot of events, activities, but nothing really clicked with me, right? Because a majority of those things were for dating, right? Where people are coming with an interest for dating, and I wasn't looking for that. Or in Bangalore, there's always somebody looking for funding or a job referral or professional networking. Outside of these two domains, I've found very little, right? They were like very niche communities, like something like a reading club or a cycling club. But I did not want to do just reading or just cycling, right? I really wanted to make friends, meet people, try out different things, and I surprisingly didn't find anything, right? I think that's when I started feeling, okay, this looks like there's something missing there. And my co-founders are also my college friends, and they're also in a very similar stage of life. They were also working. When I kind of started discussing with them, they also could relate to it very quickly. They felt like, you have just put into words what probably we were thinking in our heads. So they also were like, yeah, it seems like there's something that we can explore. So that's what the trigger was. We're like, okay, there needs to be a community for people to just experience, explore, connect without looking for like a very specific tangible benefit like a date or a referral or a fund for that particular matter. So that's how the initial idea behind Upar originated.
You quit your job and then got into this like full time, or were you doing it simultaneously?
So we did a small things with the job. I started doing a few events, hosting a few activities here and there. But I think very early on I understood that if we have to give it a try, it cannot happen part time, right? Because creating an experience, creating a community takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. So I quit my job initially. Saurabh and Pragya still continued with it for a period of time. But because I was at COVID during a year, I had to pay no rent. I had to pay not for food. So I was able to have a financial cushion. And, family was very supportive. So I was like, okay, I can quit my job. So I quit my job. And that's when things started to, take a little bit more serious turn because I could really spend time talking to people, understanding what they want, and so on and so forth. And then when things started to pick up a little bit, that's when eventually my co-founders also left their jobs.
So you mentioned a very brilliant point that building a community is difficult, which is 100% true, because it is the most difficult thing to crack for any business, for anybody. So, and I have also joined a lot of groups. There are a lot of free groups to meet friends. There's Bumble BFF, there's Bumble, there's so many platforms out there. I tried to join first with, obviously not looking for dating and all. I'm trying to build friendships and meet people. First, there's no trust. I mean, I don't know if the platform is correct. Second, there's no engagement. Like, there's nobody who's willing to talk. So how did you like focus on this, and how did you like, even I am a member of Upar and I'm like very proud of it. So how, like, even if I text something like, hey, I need this, and I get like 10 responses, da 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 da. So how did that, how did you crack this? How did you kind of what do you call, how did you kind of made everybody like super excited about this, like, oh, there's an event happening, oh, there's this something, there's people responding. So how did you do this? Like, this is the most difficult part, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think just to take a step back, right? I feel like the word community has become overused and over abused over the last 2 3 years. I think people call their Instagram followers a community, right? Anything where there's a group of people, people start calling it a community. But I feel like there are 2 3 core things that really makes a community, right? So first of all, you should have a common goal. You should have a common objective that people feel aligned to. What's common between them, right? Why are they here in the first place? And the second thing is, community is not a relationship between an audience and a community owner, right? For example, if I am an influencer and if my community is only engaging with me, I won't call it a community, right? it's very important that the people within the community are supporting, connecting with each other, which is what you're also saying as well. I think that's where a true community lies, that even if tomorrow people who are running the community go away, would that community still survive? If it does not, then I don't think it was a community to begin with, right? So our goal always was that how do we really create a space where people feel that they can be themselves, people feel they can open up, because like you mentioned, trust is a major issue, right? What kind of people will I meet? Is it safe? Uh, would people match my vibe? Would they not match my vibe? Can I share? Can I open up about myself? Can I be vulnerable? And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But I think our whole goal from day one was not about designing events or creating an app. That's something that we know we'll be able to pull off. But what is the culture of the community, right? What kind of values do we want to inculcate in that community? And I think as founders, instead of hiring people to do this stuff, we realize that we want to set an example first, right? If I myself cannot open up in a community, or I myself cannot be vulnerable, or I myself am not able to take out time to help somebody else, how would I expect somebody else to do that for somebody else, right? So I think initially we still are members of the community first and founders next. And I think we I hope that's what we believe, that we started setting up that culture and setting up that example for people about how do we want you to behave in this community and what kind of behavior is important. And whenever we feel like somebody is making an effort or somebody is abiding by the values of the community, we starting putting small reward programs to make them feel appreciated, right? And give that signal that what kind of a behavior is important for this community. So you would have seen we do these challenges which are about building habits, getting into new interests. Our community is of people, to be very honest, who are fairly well off, right? For them, it's not about a small gift, but it's about us being able to tell them how much we appreciate them.
And you noticed them.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Friendships, I think this is the most underrated topic. So when you grow up, once you leave your college, so I was somebody who never got to experience the college life because I had to start working way back when. And I used to like go to a 9 to 5, and every time I was in this office working, I used to open my Snapchat. Back then I used to use a lot, and I used to see that, oh, today we are bunking, today we're having fun, today we're going to some hookah parlor, and there were a lot of fun activities. And I was like, I'm missing out on so many things because of whatever is happening in my life. And then I felt like, theek hai, ab college khatam, ab there is no scope for me to find friends. And once you grow up also, no, your mind is a little, kya bolte usko, conditioned, and a little stubborn ki now I don't think I am going to change my ways. If you want to accept me the way I am. If not, no need. And then you start only focusing on relationships, romantic life, your family, and all of it. So friendships are important, but how does somebody knows that ki life mein friendship chahiye? It is very important, and it is so underrated right now. How did you like let everybody like realize that it is important? You need to have one day with your friends in a week, and you just go out and get drunk or play games and have fun and forget about your life for that particular day. So how did you kind of do this? And
That's a lovely question, Ria, right? So I think I don't think I need to explain to anybody why friendship is important, right? I think that's something that everybody understands.
I don't think so, Sagar. I don't think people understand why friendships are important.
I feel like
I feel like there's a priority का क्या बोलते हैं उसको list. Number one is family. Number two is your relationship. Number three is your work. Number four is your health. वो list में friendship आता ही नहीं है. Is what I feel. Like when I meet people, they're like, okay, I can change my plans. I can reschedule with my friends versus I cannot do anything else with my core priorities. So I think you should explain why friendships are important, to be honest.
No, I think you said the right thing. I don't think it's about they not knowing that friendship is important, but we take friendships for granted,
Yes.
right? We know we want friendships, we know why it's important, but we feel like it's something that will stay with us, or it's something that I can even find tomorrow, or it's something that I can make out time for at a later point of time as well, right? And like you mentioned, once you get out of college, I'm sure most of us would have one or two close friends from school or college that we connect with, but they stop being available to us beyond a point of time, right? For example, I have amazing school friends that I know if I need help, I can give them a call I know if they give me a call, I'm there for them. But I meet them once a year, right? And no matter how important they are to me, that daily, that having that sense of a friendship on a daily basis is what gets missing, right? And that can make a tremendous amount of difference to your life, because having that sense of belongingness, having somebody to share experience things with, that's what makes life interesting, right? I think as humans we are designed to be social, and we need all kinds of connections. We need family, we need a romantic partner, we need a mentor, and we need friends, right? You cannot ignore any part of that particular social circle. But I think beyond that college, that friendship part starts to diminish. And I think this whole trend of social media, friend requests, and all of this, that has diluted the meaning of friendship also, right? So you can start calling an acquaintance a friend, right? But you ask this question to yourself on a, so not even a daily basis, but on a weekly basis, how many people are you really keeping a tab on? How many people do you really know what's happening in their life? How many people feel secure enough that if they're going through a hardship, they'll feel comfortable calling you, and they'll not feel, no, what if I put my burden on her, or what if she's busy? For a lot of us, it's very few people. Right? That means maybe we are being good acquaintances, but we are not really being good friends. And that the same is happening to us also. I know a lot of people probably in my office and everything, but on a day when I'm feeling really low, whom would I call? Right? Whom would I go to meet? Or even when I want to experience something new, do I even feel comfortable sharing that with my group? So I'll tell you, I have closest of friends from my work when I was working, but I realized I want to do something more. So I wanted to, let's say, get into growth or meditation, for example. In my friend group, not that they are bad people, but even if I, let's say, bring up ki yaar, chalo, let's attend a meditation workshop,
They don't have the common goal.
they're not in that same phase in their
Yes,
life,
correct,
right?
correct,
So
correct.
at times I would just be laughed at कि क्या यार घर पे बैठते हैं फुटबॉल का मैच है देखते हैं. That doesn't make them bad friends, right? But my needs as an individual for having a set of group where I can follow my passions, that's not being fulfilled. And you do not want to refrain or restrain yourself from doing that because your existing circle does not support your goals and ambitions. That's not a reason for you to just stop pursuing something.
True. I have a few follow-up questions. Number one is, you're absolutely right. Friendships are taken for granted because लगता है कि रिलेशनशिप में एफर्ट्स डालने की बहुत जरूरत है, सब जगह एफर्ट्स डालने की जरूरत है, फ्रेंडशिप्स में इट इज नॉट नीडेड, एंड विच आई ऑल्सो यूज टू थिंक अ लॉट, एंड देन वेरी रिसेंटली माई फ्रेंड्स वर लाइक नो, इवन फ्रेंडशिप्स नीड्स अ लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट्स, and I was like, what kind of friendship is this? Why do I need to put so much effort for a friendship? Like, you are supposed to understand what I'm going through, I am supposed to understand, and we just talk whenever it is possible. And then, you know, my friend was like, no, this is not how a friendship works. It is a, like, you have to put efforts each and every day as you put it for different relationships of your life. So which is missing, which is absolutely missing, because people are like, it's okay, we don't want it, whatever. What do you think about this?
I cannot agree more, right? I cannot absolutely agree more. I think any relationship requires you to make an effort, especially if it's something you're starting new. So if you're looking to make a new friend, you have to put in even more effort to get to a point where you understand each other.
Now, talking about new friend, uh 24-25 years में I was like, अब मेरे को कौन दोस्त मिलेगा? My mindset is very different now. As you told कि you have certain, like, couple of very close friends now. Maybe they are away, different cities, different countries. You don't get to talk to them a lot. But I'm like, okay, but I like their mindset. I don't think so I'll be able to find a person like this particular person. Why should I put so much energy in trying to build something new, and at the end I realize that, oh, this is like a stupid friendship. So how to kind of get over that feeling, how to not feel like फ्रेंड यही है, इसको छोड़ के जिंदगी में फ्रेंड्स ही नहीं बन सकते, या मेरे को नहीं बनाना है.
No, absolutely. I think you only can change that by trying, right? Because like you were mentioning, when we were in maybe kindergarten or first class, our parents used to take us, make us sit next to a person, ask us to shake hands, and you have become friends, right? So friendship by virtue of it is not complicated, but as adults we make it complicated, right? Because we have a checklist now. Okay, I feel like I only can vibe with a certain set of people, right? Okay, I do not want to meet somebody who doesn't matches my standard of living or things like that. So I think those layers of complication is something that we add to it. I'm sure if we look at our school friends and if we look at ourselves 10 years back, 15 years back, we ourselves were not the same person that we are today, but we became very good friends back then. So you will surprise yourself every time you try and meet people, because people have a way of surprising you uh, if you are open to giving them a chance, right? But the challenge is that we are not open to giving people a chance because we already are afraid that it will not end up the way my older friends had ended up. But unless you give it a chance, you will never know, right?
But what if you're an introvert? What if, so I am an extrovert with my own people, own set of people, but I become very introvert. I mean, if you remember, I was like, yeah, I want to join these events, but I'm like, what will I do with a set of strangers? I need to kind of talk a lot and all of it. So what if a person is very introvert, and how will they be able to find friendships and make friends, meaningful relationships, if they can't even talk in front of like 4 5 people?
Absolutely. It's very difficult. It's not easy, and it's okay, right? So I will never say that it's very easy. You come to an event, you will make friends. If you're somebody who's not comfortable being around people, it's difficult, but it's not impossible, right? So first of all, as long as you accept that, okay, it's something I'm doing outside of my comfort zone, it's good, because then you are open to making an effort, right? And it is going to be outside of your comfort zone, and that's not a problem. I think one more thing is that you have to understand that making friends is not magic. Okay, it doesn't happen in a day. It doesn't happen in an hour. It's a process. How we used to make friends in school and college, we used to meet them regularly, almost every day, if it's a school or a college. And as we start meeting them, sometimes we are playing with them, sometimes we are learning with them, sometimes we are doing some stupid stuff with them. That's how we started connecting and becoming friends. That's the same process now also.
But now there's a lot of distance. You have a different career, I have a different career, you have a different things to do, I have different set of things to do. Then how is it same, like how to still try to build friendship each and every day?
So you can always find something in common, right? We are very different people, Riya, you and me, right? But if we sit for half an hour, I can at least find 10 things that we have in common, right? Maybe we love the same movie, maybe we love the same TV series, maybe we both love dancing, maybe we both love traveling, right? So if you spend some time with people, you will start seeing more common than more different, right? Your careers might be different, your places you come for might be different, but we're all humans, right? So if you give people a chance, you will always find something to connect with, find common with. And on top of that, I think that's also the beauty of making friends, that you can pick new things from people. I think as a 25-year-old, we feel like we have seen the whole world, but there's nothing that we have done, right? There's nothing that we have seen. And meeting every new person gives us a chance to explore something new that we have not experienced in our life, right? So always the idea is to find something in common, connect with that. That's what we try to do at Upar, right? So you have like meetups for books, games, travel. So you start with something that you are familiar with, you have a common ground with. But then once you find that commonality, that's when you can start exploring and being more accepting towards what's different, and that can change your perspective towards world and life, right? That becomes like a great learning process from there on as well.
True. I mean, it's a very funny story. I used to feel like I need to be friends with more business owners, more fellow entrepreneurs, because I'll get to learn a lot from them. And, they know, they understand me. We have the same freedom, we have the same stress, same challenges, and all of it. And then one of my very closest friend she's in Bangalore and she works in a 9 to 5. And I'm like, how should we connect? And then, but when I hear her stories, when I say like, Ria, today I have to be at office at 9 o'clock, I have to get this done. I have deadlines. I get to learn so much indirectly, because now I don't have anybody to kind of report to. But it is so good to have a checklist. It is so good to have a disciplined life. It is so good to, 9 to 5 has its own perks and, pros and cons. So yeah, you definitely learn a lot of things from people. Like if I have a singer friend, I'm like, oh wow, she talks about different stuff, instruments and all of it, which is very strange topic, like which is, I don't know a lot. But tomorrow, if we are having a conversation about music, I'll be able to add couple of things because I've learned or picked it up from her. So that is very true. Why do you think in 2025 friendships are important? Like why do you need a friend?
See, first of all, let's understand what being alone means. Okay, usually when you use the word loneliness or being alone, there's a very negative connotation to it. You imagine a person sitting in the corner in a dark room having no. That's not what just loneliness is, right? Me and you can be talking, but we can still be very lonely people. right? We can be having a lot of friends, but we can still be very lonely. But I believe we don't have to be that way, right? We don't have to be lonely. We can always find a space, a home, a set of people where we feel belonged. And that feeling of belongingness can be very powerful, right? Like you have your family, you know, uh, I have a friend. I come from a very good family in conventional way, right? In the terms of my family is very supportive. They give me freedom. They back me for doing a startup. So I always took it for granted, right? Until I met somebody who did not have that privilege, right? And that's when you start to realize your family finds a way of anchoring you. So I know no matter how far I fall, I cannot fall below this because I have that support, right? I have that backup. But as an adult, there are certain needs that a family cannot fulfill, right? For a lot of us, you cannot be completely open about your emotions with your family, or there's always a set of generation gap with your parents, a level of understanding gap with your parents. So you need that gap to be filled with friends, with people of your age, where you can find more level of relatability and you can find that same anchor there as well in people. So when you feel belong to a group of people, that can be liberating, that can be supremely powerful.
Don't you think it's exhausting to keep having the same conversations, keep trying to, find one good friend from a bunch? Or, I think it similar to dating, like when you go on Bumble or whatever, you swipe, you find, you have a conversation later to realize it's not going to work out. I think it's same with the friendships also. You need to have so many conversations, so many, what do you call, experiences to realize maybe this is not the friend I want. So it gets a little exhausting.
I think it's liberating, right? I think the challenge with that thing is we were talking about conditioning, right? Why are you coming thinking I want this kind of a friend, right? Why are you coming thinking, what if I don't find a friend here? You come, you meet people, right? Friendship happens organically. If you come, you meet 10 people, you will hear 10 thoughts, 10 ideas. You naturally will feel connected to a couple of them, right? And the next time you meet, that will start to grow up. You don't have to make an effort, right? You don't have to have a checklist or a speed dating form to find a friend, right? You don't have to go through a biodata to find a friend, and that's what is beautiful. You come, you meet people, you talk to them, you naturally will enjoy the company of a few of them, right? And they don't have to become your best friends on day one, but they will be people you know, they will be people you will learn from. And over a period of time, as you meet these people, you will definitely find that core group of friends that you can vibe and connect with at a more deeper level. So I don't think it's that tough. I think it's a beautiful process. If you are not coming with that preconceived thought of what do you want to, or what kind of a person you want to meet and take away from this. And Ria, I cannot emphasize this enough. I have met people at Upar who have become my friends, who I would have never conventionally thought of being friends with in my whole life, right? I would have either thought that, okay, oh my God, this person I cannot handle for a minute, right? But if you just give people a chance to tell their story, to present themselves, and yeah, and you need to have a little bit of an eagerness or an ear to listen, and be genuinely open to, curious to knowing people. You will just find people will always and always surprise you. So I think it's very easy, but you have to keep that conditioning outside, and you really genuinely have to be curious about meeting people. You go to an event and you think, okay, this is my chance to know 10 more people today, and that's what you are expecting. If few of them I connect with, of course there's a chance that I can become better friends with. But even if you do not, isn't meeting 10 new people, knowing their stories, knowing their personalities good enough, right? I think if you come with that perspective and you find from that perspective, you will find more friends than when you come with a checklist of what kind of people you want.
Have you heard this or saw this on Instagram or somewhere where they say if you have more than 10, 15 friends, you're not living your life correctly. You're supposed to have a very closed, knit group of people. You're just going like just two, three of them. You cannot have so many friends and all of it, like the motivational posts and everything.
Absolutely.
What do you think about
I
it?
agree with that. I completely agree with that, right? I mean, whether it's 2 or 10, it's up to you, right? But I always believe you always have a core circle of close friends. But that does not mean that you cannot know more people, right? That does not mean you can not hang out with more people. You do not have to be best friends forever with everybody you meet, right? You can always find a close circle that's your inner strength, that's your inner circle. but you can still find more people. For example, I have a different group of friends that I play badminton with, right? I have a different group of friends that I talk books with. I have a different kind of friends that I travel with, right? And maybe none of them are my 3 a.m. friends or buddies. My 3 a.m. friends are maybe people that I do not even have something in common with. But I really go enjoy playing badminton with. Why do I have to expect that all of them will also sit at my house at night and have conversations, right? I really enjoy my time with them and all of them, right? So I think you can have a larger group to tap into different interests, different ideas, different thoughts. But I also agree that you can always have a smaller circle of close group of friends, because within a close group you go a step further of having expectations and things like that, right? So when you start expecting everybody to behave a certain way or certain things, then of course you are setting yourself up for being hurt. So have a close group of your inner strength, but tap into a larger group of amazing companies, amazing interests, and amazing set of people.
Do you have some stories to share about, friendships in this club or anywhere, like any amazing stories?
Which one do I pick? So I'll tell you a couple of people. So we have from Bangalore, right? These are two people. They live next doors to each other, okay? Who hadn't met in 25 years of their life, okay? So they came at an Upar event. They met, they vibed, and when they were going back, they're like, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to this and this area." We're like, "Oh, I'm also going to this and this area." "Where do you live in this and this area?" He's like, "I live in this and this street." Like, "I also live in this and this street." So you see, right? I mean, in a city like Bangalore, people are living next doors for 25 years. They're not even people who have moved new to the city, but they still didn't know each other. And now, they met at an event, they have connected. One of them gives other call at night at 11 a.m. कि भाई चल चाय पी के आते हैं. They're going, they're hanging out. They've really found a friend in a neighbor, right? So that becomes so powerful, right? That's become so powerful, and that's true. Even saying, giving all of this gyan, I also don't know who lives in my flat next door in Bangalore, right? Because that is how the culture has become.
Until they join Upar Club.
Or they just get a chance to meet, connect, right? I don't know. I feel very sad. I feel like we fundamentally are making a lot of mistakes. For example, if I meet you or somebody, I ask, "Hey, how are you?" But do we really mean? Do we really? Are we really looking for an answer? We're not looking for an answer, but I think we should. Right? I think it's so beautiful. You meet somebody, you ask them a question that you want to get an answer to, right? And you listen, but we don't do that, right? We just want to, "How are you? "Yeah, I'm good." Yeah, tuck and done, right? I think it has become, in a way, a little cool to be by yourself, or it has become a little cool to say, "Arey, I don't need anybody. I'm happy alone." So you can be happy alone, but why do you want to be happy alone, right? When you can be happy in company of people as well. So I just feel like we if we ask a question, we should look for an answer, right? If we are talking to somebody, we should be curious to listen, curious to do. If we do that, it just becomes beautiful to connect and know stories of people. And you were telling me before this that you're not as much into reading books, right? I think meeting people can have the same effect, right? I think I've learned more from people than I've even learned from books, right? And but you just have to be curious enough to listen.
So beautiful. What makes a person a good friend? What are some? So I'll give you an example, and it might sound stupid to you, but for me, it is somebody who is not only there to listen to my stories. I want it to be a two-way conversation, because if not, I cannot be as vulnerable as I want to, because I feel that if you are not able to, put your guards down, I cannot do the same thing. Just an example. Next is, I cannot be, I you don't necessarily have to be a like-minded, like you don't have to think like me and all of it, but I don't want you to also judge me if I do something which is not, what do you call, which is not according to your values or whatever. So these are a couple of things, but according to you, what makes a person a good friend?
I think there are 4 or 5 things, right? That would go into that. At the very core of it, let's come back to that idea that I think I will be a good friend if, whether I meet them every day, every week, every month, or every year, whenever they need me in life, they don't hesitate reaching out to me. I think that is a very baseline of being a friend, right? That when they need me, they should never think, whether it's for a happy moment, whether it's for a sad moment, they should never hesitate in reaching out to me.
But what about your social battery? What about you? Like, you want to be there for me.
Yeah.
Let's say we are very good friends, and I'm like, hey, you know what, I'm stuck somewhere or whatever. And you genuinely want to help me. But there are days when you just can't because of whatever reasons. But that does not make you a bad friend, because that is a bad situation. But how are you going to crack this?
Yeah, of course, if I'm unable to do that for some or whatever reason, that's a different situation. But the first thing is the person itself feeling comfortable enough to reach out to me, to be there for me. And then, of course, it's up to me or the situation and whatever it is. And the vice versa. I would consider somebody a friend when I feel like if I have an achievement in my life, who are the first 5 people I feel like calling, right? If I am at a bad moment, who are the first 5 people I feel like reaching out to? I think those are the people that I would call a good friend. But I think other than that, in general, when you kind of build a social circle, or if you want to assess if you have a good social life, there's something that we have created at Upar also called a social score calculator, right? Which kind of gives you an idea of how good you feel socially. So I think first of all, availability, right? Your friends should be available to you. Okay, you can have a very deep connect, but if they're not there when you need them, it's of not a close, right? I think then your friend should also be reliable, right? Can I rely on my friend, right, for a secret? Can I rely on my friend for something that I need? And that gives you that. And I think one thing that's important for me is I also want to be within a social circle that inspires me, right? Um, I mean, I am somebody who's always, you know, trying to be a better version of myself in whatever ways. I feel like the easiest way to do it is be surrounded by people who inspire you.
Who
And it
can
is
push you?
who push you. And it doesn't have to be just going to the gym or reading a book. There can be their own ways, right? Maybe if you are feeling a little hesitant in going out, maybe you have a friend who gives you that nudge. Me or I think you should go, right? I think you should go out. Maybe he sets that example up for you, right? Okay, I'll go with you if you need really for me to be able to go ahead and do that. So I think one more thing is inclusivity, right? I think you should not feel left out within a social circle, right? I think you always have that group of sometimes 3 friends or 4 friends where you feel, okay, are the others more closer to each other than I am, or something like that. If you're feeling that way, either have a curd or that might also be true. So I feel like your social circle should make you feel included, make you feel welcomed, make you feel important and observed and looked at. So I think if you are feeling these ways, you feel like people are available to you, they can rely on you, they inspire you, they make you feel included. That's a sign that you're doing socially good, right? That means you have a good social circle or a group of good friends around you.
Absolutely. Also, I think there is one thing I would not, try to bifurcate it between guys and girls, but mostly it happens with girls. Guys, they know how to, most of them, again, I'm not trying to say 100%, most of them knows how to compartmentalize their life. Like, there's work, switch, there's friendship, switch, there is relationship, switch, there's family, switch, there's health. But for girls, it is always like the 2 or 3 things, excluding the friendships. Do you think if you have a healthy relationship with all these categories, you are obviously less depressed, you're not completely dependent on one particular department of your life, and that department does not like fucks your mind up, and you're not just like focused, you have a different, when there's a problem in this side, you can just go switch to a different side, and you can at least be calm. Do you think that, I think most of the girls have a problem with this comparative to the guys, because they, for them, I have seen this again in my circle. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a gender specific problem, right?
But this is like most of it, I've seen
Maybe,
this
yeah,
most of it, yeah, huh.
I'll take your word for that. But yeah, I feel so. I think it makes sense, right? You cannot overburden one department of your life, right? So if you're like, if you're completely dependent on one aspect of it, then of course you're setting yourself up for disappointment, right? Because see, ultimately, people are, I don't know what's the right word, but people are just people, right? They have their own traumas, they have their own fights, they have their own wins, and everybody is also living their own life, right? So while everybody is trying to be a good son, a good friend, a good husband, a good boyfriend, they're also going through phases in their own lives, their own ups and downs, right? And there are going to be times when they are not up for giving as much, or maybe they also need something in return. So if you're kind of just dependent on very specific set of relationships in your life, maybe 8 out of 10 times it works, but there will be times when maybe both of you are feeling needy, right? And at that time it gets difficult, right? Because if you do not have an outlet for somebody else, neither you are able to be for them, be there for them, and maybe the other way around also. So I feel like, of course, every relationship in your life holds some value, right? And every relationship has a part, and it's not easy with everything that's happening around. But I think because it's not easy, it's also not a reason to not make an effort towards maintaining those relationships in life.
Now there are people who want to go out there, who want to make friends, who want to, have a social life. There's no accessibility. So how can people crack that? There are tons of WhatsApp groups, there are tons of, Facebook pages and, these events that happen. But how do you crack the accessibility of meeting people, or, able to like spend time? For example, Oopar Club is an example. But how can in general people crack this, like, where they can, okay, this is very accessible to me?
I'm not sure yeah, if I have a right answer to that, right? I think there are two, three things that kind of limit accessibility when I hear people at Upar, right? Even what you were discussing. One thing is this definitely notion of time, right? Where I want to do this, but I don't have time. Okay. And in certain situations, it's true. But in my experience, more often than not, you feel busy than actually being busy. Okay. You maybe catch time to watch a Netflix series. Okay. You maybe catch time to go out shopping, right? So I believe a lot of times you are notionally busy than actually being busy.
So when I say accessibility, I'm meaning to meet these folks. Okay. So I am right now, I'm a little, let's say I'm alone right now, and I'm hoping to meet friends. I want to make friends, like build friendships. I want to meet people. I don't have an accessibility. I don't know where to go, what to go, what to do. For example, in countries like US and all, this is very like normal. But in India, we still are little. I think we still need to figure out a way to meet friends, make like meet people, and not it is. And the purpose is not having a relationship. The purpose is like pure platonic friendships or whatever. So how to
Joining Uber. Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, that's exactly what we're trying to solve. That was our telling. That's the exact challenge I also face.
And it is still
It's a
there, don't you
gap.
think?
Of course, of course. I mean, Uber is also just starting up, right? And there are more communities like this coming, and it's really increasing. There's awareness around increasing. There are more people who are trying to solve for it. So I feel like it's an amazing time. I feel like in the next 5 to 6 years, we're going to see people attempting to solve this accessibility through different ways. But if you are somebody who's not trying to solve for it but trying to access the use of it, I think it's also about you having to make an effort, right? It's not it's not
बैठे
a
बैठे मिल जाएगा.
it's not a food delivery कि आपने order किया और आ गया. Nobody can force you to make a friend, right? Uh, People can set systems up for you. They can set experiences up for you. They can try to bring a crowd that's maybe matches your interest, but you have to do the part of showing up, right? And that's something for you to figure out, right? Because even if I'm pushing you and taking you to a place, that won't solve the problem. You have to find that motivation within yourself to be able to go ahead and do that, and you have to go ahead and make an effort. I think whatever is barrier to it, that's something that us or somebody else can try to solve for, right? For example, we're talking about trust. We try to be very transparent. How many people are going to come an event? What is the age group within the community? You can find everybody on the app. Even before you come to an event, you can say a hi to people. You can already know what kind of people you're going to meet. We do these online meetups so that even before you step out of your house, from the comfort of your home, you understand what kind of a vibe it is, right? So we can try to make it a easier decision for you to show up, right? But I think it's still up to that individual to actually go ahead and make that effort of doing it up. But we're also learning along the way, and we're trying to understand what more can be done on the part. But yeah, I feel like that individual also needs to make a small effort.
So talking about, I want to talk a little bit about the age sensitivity. For example, I'm 27 now. I know it is very easy for me to make friends for the next 10, 15 years. Uh, or maybe 20, 30, because I can talk to people and all of it. But let's say my mom, she's 47 and she's a single parent, and uh, I don't know if there are any platforms out there, because I tried a lot to search for platforms out there to find where she can find like-minded people or of same age group, so that she can get along, she can go out, she can have fun. But there is nothing of that sort, is what I feel.
No, I agree. We get a lot of queries, requests from people who are 45 plus, even 50 plus, a lot of retired people, right? I think that sense of community and friendships is needed no matter at what age you are. Whether you are 10 or 70, you would always need a social circle. You would always need a tribe. I think the problem remains the same, that there's still not enough accessible groups. I'm personally not aware if there's a
Same
community
here.
of
I
people
have
there.
tried Bumble for my mom. I've tried everything, and there is nothing.
But I can tell you one specific thing that I've seen. I think there are a lot of travel is becoming lot social. So I've seen some travel trips happening for specific age groups.
Correct. I have never seen it for 45 above or 40 above. It is always like 35 young women like go on a like good woman trip and all of it, but I've never seen for that age group. And I think friendship is not like age specific. Friendship, you need it when you're like 1 year old, and you need it when you're like 95 years. And it solves a lot of uh, problems like stress, diabetes, all of it. Why are you like getting all of these diseases? It's because you're not happy. You're not happy because you have some trauma, you have gone through some stuff, and it has like it is still there. But if you have good circle or people you can hang out with people you can laugh with, and there's a lot. I think that every human has a side, like the childish side, but these people cannot do it with like it is very difficult slightly. So do you have any suggestions?
I mean, first of all, you made a very fair point, and I'm not just even talking emotionally. Scientifically, as per WHO, loneliness is an epidemic, right? And these are not just phrases or something on the net. It's actually there, and people are doing a research on that. But I think even at a more fundamental level, I think that's what life is for. No, I mean, what else are you here for? You will make a lot of money. ठीक है, आप काम करोगे, आपकी salary आएगी. You will make a business. You will do things. You will go to the gym. You will make a body. But what then?
क्या करोगे पैसों का, क्या करोगे सबका, but when you don't have it to share it with somebody.
Yeah, you go out, travel, enjoy, meet people. I think that's what we are designed to do. That's what, at least my retirement plan is to just discuss politics and sociology and world things with people. I think that's what I enjoy, and that's what I want to keep doing. So I feel like, yeah, I completely agree with you. For any age that's there, and I mean, if you are telling me that you are not seeing enough opportunities for people at a certain age to find that, I think somebody should definitely try and create that and solve for that. I think.
You already have a platform. It would be much more easier for you to just open a vertical.
I mean, I feel like because I fall in that age group of the demographics that we have for Upar today, I'm able to relate better with them. I'm able to design experiences and activities that resonate with them better. I think for me to create a solution or experiences for that age group, I feel like it makes sense to have somebody who can resonate and relate better with them, which I think I'll not be able to do today. So probably, hopefully, in future we can build more age specific things. But I feel like
And we are actually open minded. We are ready to just go out there. But with them, they are very like, oh, I can't do this, and because they come from that generation where it is like, नहीं होगा, कैसे जाते हैं, क्या बात करना है,
lot of taboos.
yeah, omni man उठा के लेके जाएगा. But so there are a lot of things. So उनके लिए it is much more difficult, and it is a much more difficult thing to crack also. So, but still you need. So, do you have any advice like how they can, like anybody who was looking to find friends, or like what advice, like how can they start, or what they can do for people who are listening from, let's say, Kolkata, and there is no Upar Club yet. So, what examples, like what can you say, like how to get started and socialize and have fun and get to meet your wild side?
I think just be open to it first of all, right? Go to cafes. If you see somebody sitting alone, go and say hi, right? If you are at a bar, you are at a pub, you are at a club, go and talk to people, right? You know, saying sometimes it takes very little to go ahead and do that, but you have to be open to taking that first step, right? You have to be open to going ahead and doing that. It's a little difficult at times because unless you are in safe spaces, sometimes you might make an effort that's not reciprocated well, and that might further push you down.
That will be a deal breaker for you. Ki, हाँ, yes.
Right? So take your chances wisely, I would say. And I hope there are more things, more communities like this that come there as well. But even if you do not have such kind of an opportunity, just try and say hi to 5 people you do not know this weekend. Just make that your goal. Okay, I'll spend some time in a mall or a cafe and something, and I'll try and have a conversation with 5 people. I can assure you, at least one of them will reciprocate well, and you will end up having a good conversation. Whether that turns into a friendship is a separate thing, but I'm sure you will find somebody interesting or somebody would be open to having that conversation also. So try making an effort, and if that works, then let me know.
Yes, there is nothing for people who are like 40 above or something. Not that I have seen. And if there is anything, and if anybody knows, please let me know. But how to, if somebody wants to do it, are there any like, is there any checklist or, sort of a, what do you call, SOP, like, this is how you can start a community, and the purpose may or may not be to earn money. It is a proper like giving back to the society. So how can, somebody start something of this sort?
Wow, lovely. I think some people are doing some great jobs at building communities. Uh, if you want to like have like a little bit of generic idea, just search it on the internet. There are a lot of tutorials, videos of people about how to start communities, build communities. But if I would tell from my experience, I think just take a day, sit with a paper and pen, and write down 3, 4 things. It first is, what is the goal of your community, right? Why should somebody join your community? It can be about making friends. Try to have it a little bit more centered. For example, within Upar, of course it's about making friends, but then our focus is always towards a little bit about personal growth, right? We want this experiences to also be a mean for people to get improve their lifestyle, get into a better self, right? So just write down, what is this community about, right? Why should somebody join it? Then define who are the people who are going to join that. Of course, age is a demographic. What else? Are these just are these at like homemakers that you're making this community for? Are you making this community working professionals, right? What are some 3, 4 qualities? Then go ahead and talk to 10, 20, 30, 40 people who fall into that demographic and who have that goal, and talk to them. Why are you not able to get this goal? What do you need, right? What would make easier for you to be able to achieve this particular thing that you want them to join for? The moment you talk to 50 people, you'll have what you need to do to actually build this community, right? It sounds, it's not very complicated also, actually. Of course, I'm putting it very, very simply. But I think as long as you have these 3 things clear, what you want them to do, who they are, and listen from them, how they want this community to run, you will have all the basic things you need to go ahead and start a community. And rest, everything follows, right? Whether you want to do it on WhatsApp or what platform, those technicalities is something that you'll be able to figure out. But those 3 things is what you need a clear answer.
What I love about Upar Club is that you guys are so active. Like, I was in Bangalore and I was like, hey, does anybody wants to meet? And you being the founder and all of it, having tons and tons of stuff to do yourself, you're like, you know what? Let me plan something up for you. Let me see if anybody's, around, and we can kind of have a meetup sort of a thing. And you made that happen. And you were the one who was there till the last, till the end. And you were like, do you want to go home or do you want to still continue having fun? So that's what it takes to make this club the club it is today, because the engagement is awesome. People are desperately waiting for the next events. They're asking you, what is it? Why are they, like, what is happening? When is the next event? Where are the pictures and all of it? And it is because you have put in a lot of effort. So that kind of effort, that kind of engagement, you're getting only because of that personal touch. You remember what is my story, you remember what is the other person's story, and they're like thousand. How many people are like, how there? What's the team?
Yeah, 5,000 plus people right now.
Wow, 5,000.
Yeah.
Wow. So how do you do this? Like with every individual, you're like having that connection. Hey, you want to come to Hyderabad? Let's do something. You want to come to Bangalore? Let's do something. कहाँ से इतना social
Me,
battery
I mean,
आता
you're
है?
giving me much more credit than I deserve. But I mean, I started this because I wanted this, right? I started this community because I was going through that same problem and I wanted a solution. So like I told you, I am a member first and a founder next. I love meeting people. I love talking to them. I love helping them meet each other. So that's joy for me. That's not work for me. That does not take a lot of effort for me. That comes very naturally. And I think, because at some level we have been able to succeed in creating that culture. Now our members are also reciprocating that or paying it forward. So people who have been in the community for a while, now they are doing the same thing, right? They are helping the people who are new into the community to be able to gel up, to be able to pass on that thing to us, and that's beautiful. So, and I think that's what is needed in a community. Till the time it's just me making a connect with everybody, it's not going to work. It's only going to work when people start helping each other out, right? And that's already happening. And I think that's what makes Upar personally for me a true community, because you will always find, even if I am not there or the whole team of Upar goes away, the community will still stay, right? And I think that's what makes it so beautiful and so amazing.
You're proud of what you have done, like what you have achieved so far.
Mm, mm, mm. It's a difficult
You cannot
question.
be humble.
I mean, there's a lot to do for Upar as a business, right? Like as a startup. But in terms of our mission of what we actually end result we want to achieve for our community members, I would say we feel we are doing a good job, right? I mean, we feel like we are in the right path. People people have made lifelong friendships. They celebrate their birthdays together, festivals together. They're always there for each other, right? They're always rooting for each other. So I do feel that in terms of what we want to achieve for our members as a mission, we are doing good. There's so much more we want to do for them. There's so many more initiatives we are coming up with. But that gives me the content, and that gives me the motivation to actually try and build a business out of it as well. Because if we don't build it as a business, then we cannot keep doing what we are
Absolutely.
doing.
Sustain in yoga.
But as a business, as an entrepreneur part of it, there's I don't think we have, we're even 1% where we want to be. So there's a lot of things to be done there.
Wow. And where do you want to see Upar Club 5 years down the line?
We want Uber to be a very hyper localized community, right? I think proximity is very important. You can connect with people more when they are around you. So we see Uber as a S- Sikandrabad chapter, not even a Hyderabad chapter, right? A Uber for Jubilee Hills, for Banjara Hills. So within your local space, for people around you, within your proximity, we want everybody to have a circle.
Gym buddy.
Gym buddies, they can hang out on Saturdays, they can just come, chill at a chai tapri, and people just never feel like they're alone, right? I think that's where we want Uber to be
Wow.
5 years down the line.
So what does Upar means? Like how did you come up with this name?
Yeah, so Uber is a Hindi word, going Uber. So our thought was that you are trying to elevate people's social life, and we want people to have better social lives. The same time, like I mentioned, the idea is around growth, that people become a better version of themselves. So the idea is that we're all trying to collectively take our lives Uber, take each other's growth, social life Uber. So that's where the word Uber comes from. And then we also thought it's pretty cute, small. We hope it catches on, but that's the idea behind the name.
And how to like sign up, and it's not because I want to promote you or your brand or anything, because I genuinely feel there is something, there is, it is very, this is very precious, and I'm so glad I'm part of it. Even though I don't attend a lot of events, I will.
Yeah, I would love for you to be attending more.
Absolutely, because see, my membership was over I think a month ago, but I still wanted to renew because I know that I'm going to end up. I want to be there, and it looks very fun, and the pictures and everything. Like, oh shit, I missed it again. But yeah, how do somebody signs up?
So it's pretty easy. It's a free app. So you can go ahead and directly download the app, and you can find activities that are happening in your area. So just to join the first activity, you do not need any membership or anything of that sort.
Oh, wow.
So you first pick up something, you join, you make sure you like the space, you like what's happening. Certain events which are overnight stays, we only open it up for members from a safety security point of view. But you can always find smaller activities that are happening. So you turn up to an event, you see the vibe. Hey, am I really liking the company of these people? Am I liking the way it's organized? And once you have that confidence, then you can opt for a club membership. You can directly sign up from the app itself. The club membership, first of all, makes it more cost effective for you to be able to join these events, as well as it gives you access to a little bit more moderated space, right? Because it's not possible for us to be able to moderate each and every conversation that's happening on the app. But within the membership space, you have a community managers, hosts, moderators to give you a little bit more personalized experience for you to be able to get into it. Like you were mentioning, right? There's always a little bit of trust issue,
Yes.
or sometimes you are also a little just shy,
Yes.
right? Hey,
trust issues, being shy. Uh, what else? What other options do you?
You just feel a little awkward. Yeah, I won't know anybody there. Maybe people will already be friends.
Yeah.
If I go, who do I reach out to? What I go to? And things like that, right? So when somebody takes a membership, that's also a signal for us that they genuinely want to do this. They have a right intent for it. So for all of our members, like I am always in touch with you. So you always have a community manager, somebody from a team who can give you a nudge, who you have direct access to for any kind of questions, conversations you need help. So we get a much more personalized experience for you to be able to engage and interact in these activities.
And how do you guys select the members? Is there a process or anybody?
So we do a LinkedIn verification at this point of time. To be very honest, it's very tough to judge somebody based on their LinkedIn profile or something of that sort. So we focus more on moderation, right? So wherever we have very well-defined community guidelines of what kind of a behavior is accepted, and even better, what kind of a behavior is not accepted, right? And all our community managers are very approachable from our members, and the whole community space is very well moderated. So we are very open to wherever, in rarest of rare situation, there has been a case where we felt that somebody is not a right fit for the community or somebody is not following the right community guidelines. We're always happy to let them be aware of that part, and if needed, also ask them to step down of that particular community.
Wow. So it's very easy to install. Perfect. Awesome. So do you have any final words or messages for our listeners out there?
Sure, just be more open, right? Life is not that complicated. Okay, if you just give yourself a chance to be open, be out there. It's not easy, but it's also not super difficult. Find opportunities to connect with people. I think there is tremendous amount of knowledge and experiences that you can have just by meeting people. So my that's my always takeaway, right? Meet more people. You might sometimes run into a situation that is a little unpleasant. More often than not, you'll always end up more richer, wiser, happier. So just meet more people. That's what I would say.
Okay. This was a brilliant conversation, Sagar. Thank you so much for taking this time out and traveling like 25 kilometers and not just 25, I think, what, 600 kilometers also Bangalore. Se, है ना? But thank you so much for being a part of the show. It is not that big right now, but you still, you still chose to show up and you still, very insightful. You were very insightful. So thank you so much for giving us a shot and thank you so much for sharing.
It's my pleasure. Yeah. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I love the conversation, and I think it's always good interacting with you. And but one thing I will leave you with is, now that I have traveled this far, so I need you to be traveling
Yes.
also to more Upar events.
So good friendships. To good
Yeah,
friendships.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.